Hello! Ram bam. Okay, see you later, Mum. Oh. What's she like? Right, let's get actually on the road and riding this baby. So yeah, we're on the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. Wow, what a completely different vibe to what I'm used to. This is just a very chilled bike. I feel like you want to ride it more chilled because it's just giving you those kind of vibes. Let's wind her on a bit. So we're working with 47 brake horsepower. Okay, right, it picks its feet up. I can't complain about that. On paper, it does seem a little underwhelming. You know, 47 out of a 650, 47 horsepower, when you have things, I know they're obviously not in the same category, but you have the likes of like the MT-07, 73 brake horsepower, and then you've got this 650 or 648cc with 47. Got a wave at the bikers. Although the man's on an Aprilia, he'd leave us for dead. He'd leave us for dead. But I'm purposely taking us on some twisties so that we can really just enjoy it and see how it handles. Now, first impressions are pretty comfy, but then again, I have just hopped on it. A lot of the people who have ridden this bike for quite a distance, quite a way, do complain that the seat does get a bit butt numbing after an hour, but I'm going to reserve judgment on that, and I'm going to put it to the test myself, because we all know I'm not working with a particularly squishy butt. It's quite firm. Wait, no, that sounds like I'm being big-headed, like I've got a firm ass. No, it's just there's not much to it. It's a shame. Okay, so we're about to come up to some twisties on wonderful North Road. Let's get it in a good gear. Wang it round. So it's quite torquey. We've got 52 Newton meters of torque, but 80% of that is available from round about 2000 revs, so it does feel quite punchy. Oh, it handles swimmingly well. Oh, okay. Oh, a little firecracker. I like that. That was deceptive because it's a £6,000 just over bike. You know, it's a very, very good value for money. If we think about the Hornet, what I've recently spoke about, we thought that's a bargain at £7,000. Well, this is like just a smidge over 6, and yeah, we're not working with 90 brake horsepower, but if you don't need 90 brake horsepower and you're not bothered about that, then it isn't something that will really matter, and that comparison will be a bit pointless because you just don't need it. If you don't need it, you don't need it, do you? It's a bloody murder getting out of this junction, but we try. What's this? Man's just chilling. Seems legit. Not. So one thing that this bike doesn't have, which I am a sucker for this because my memory is so terrible. Wow, this sun's bright. My memory is so bloody bad that I really benefit and quite enjoy having a gear indicator, so I can look at, you know, what gear I'm in. You know, after second gear I'm often pretty forgetful and I could just be milling around in fifth gear thinking I'm in fourth or third, and I just like knowing, okay? But this bike isn't pretending to be anything it's not. It's a modern retro, very, very basic looking analog dashes with a little LCD screen, which does show you cool things like fuel gauge. We've got 7 bars, I think, from what I can see. Just there. But the switchgear is very uncomplicated. We don't have modes, we don't have quick shifters or auto blippers. We do have a slipper clutch, which is nice. It's always nice to have a slipper clutch. Tank 13.7 litres. So it'll be interesting to see how many miles I can get to a tank on longer runs out. But one thing I like about this is I've jumped on it and I don't feel like I need to go 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's got perfectly ample torque and power through the towns. You know, it's almost like the complete opposite of aggressive, to the point where it's very chilled through the town, which is quite nice if you're not a speed demon. But I can imagine working this bike through country lanes and actually putting a shift in with it would be quite rewarding, because you know that you're making it work. Mirrors, I love them. I think we've got a lovely like modern classic, and then we've got some bar end mirrors on which look pretty gangster. Brakes on this, you know, we've got a single disc at the front. We don't have that crazy bite of a twin disc, something that's gonna sort of make you slide a bit forward in your seat. It is a very progressive brake, and it's a brake that works, but I wouldn't want to be stonking along on country roads and sort of come across a tractor. I wouldn't really like to rely on the brakes all that much, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, like, stop now, plenty bite, you know, it is good, it's firm, and it does stop you, but I can imagine pushing on a bit, you know. You just have to take them for what they are. Suspension on this bike is extremely comfortable, borderline wallowy, but I have heard that a lot of Royal Enfield owners, like specifically the Interceptor 650, a lot of them get the suspension altered quite quickly, because we've got no adjustment on the front, we've got a tiny bit of adjustment on the shock, but from factory they are just, it is just a bit of like a soft, comfy suspension, I would say. It's just soft, it's just comfy. Riding position, I'm really liking it. I like the fact that I'm upright. I'm personally gelling with the seat so far, this big long log of a seat. But I'm getting on with it. We'll go this way actually. It surprised me. It surprised me because one of the price point, two of the lack of any kind of technology on it. I thought it was going to be a little bit budget and a little bit rickety, but it isn't rickety. It's not rickety to ride at all. It's actually super pleasant. I could really see somebody owning this who isn't driven by ego, who is happy to have a pleasant ride on country lanes and take in the scenery. Like, I feel like this is a bike that could very much appeal to you. I'm not sure what the Audi's thinking. Bit strange behaviour. Another thing that's pretty cool is the amount of bits that you can modify on this, the amount of parts available to really customize it and make it your own. In fact, one of the things that kind of got me onto the Interceptor was watching bloody Missing and Flyer with his absolute disaster of a situation with his custom build. But that aside, I think he's got a pretty bonny looking bike out of it, even though it's cost him the earth. Andy, if you're watching this, man, my heart goes out to you with that one. But your bike looks great, if it's any consolation. Yeah, town mannerisms, slow speed mannerisms, super comfy, compliant, but at the same time not boring. It's not a boring ride. Yeah, we've got a parallel twin, single overhead cam. I might actually just quickly take it over Rivington. I know you're probably sick of it, but as a quick first impressions whilst the sun sets, it would be nice to take it on some roads that aren't just town roads, to see how it can handle a bit of pressure being put on it, how it can handle us picking the tempo up a bit, picking the pace up. So it's nice to see beer gardens getting full again. Haha, perfect. Spring is here and we love it. Okay, so we're in a national, so we can make a bit of progress. She's a bit bouncy. Oh, she's very bouncy on the old suspension. Yeah, if you're quite a sporty rider and you like to go out and test your own limits and stuff, you know, it's very bouncy, which unsettles the bike a little bit when you're going a bit faster. Yeah, very bumpy. Ooh. Yeah, can feel a bit squiggly when you press on a little bit. With no quick shifter, so we gotta be a bit hands-on. Yeah, so for bimbling around towns, you know, this bike is pretty fun for stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, the handling I think is very, very good for what I was expecting in terms of like how quickly it steers and stuff like that. But I'm just wondering, on the uneven roads of Rivington, what the suspension's going to be like, whether it's going to be too wallowy to push on, which is what I suspect. But I'm not knocking the bike for that, because it is what it is. The bike is what it is. Okay, so far it feels nice and smooth. Oh, okay, so we get a bit of instability, I think, when you push on and you go over bumps. Like, you really feel it through the bars. You get a bit of a bar, not wobble, but you just feel like it's a bit unstable. You whack it on. We don't have arm wrenching power, but we still have a good amount. Lots of stuff happening here. This is a nice little section. We'll see how she fares around here. Nice and clear. Oh. You know what? Not too bad. Not too bad in the slightest. Not the sportiest suspension, but we knew that. but I don't think this bike is aimed at riders that want to go flat out over Rivington. It's just not. Beautiful. Right, let's pin it. Let's get it sent. Oh. Okay, so when you pin it, you're not like, ah! It just like casually gets up to speed. But it is a bike that you can comfortably do like 70 on. Let's go. It's got a nice sound to it. We've got the twin exhausts at the back. Make a nice rumble. The dash is pretty clear to read. And I can see everything very well. The mirrors, I think they're pretty good. They don't vibrate to smithereens. You can see through them. Heated grips. This bike hasn't been specced with them. Could have done with them today, because even though it's a nice proper spring day, it's getting to 8 o'clock now and it's getting a bit chilly. So heated grips would have been a very welcomed addition to this bike for me. We got horses, excellent. And we're also coming up to a bit of a blind hill as well, so I'm just going to hang back. I would rather see over this hill. I'm going to come out. No, I'm not, because I can see a car coming. And now we go. Execute a bit of patience. You can see it's clear. Oh, beautiful, as they say in Yorkshire. Bloody beautiful. Oh, we love it. Yeah, you can get satisfaction and gratification out of this bike. Don't get me wrong, if you're used to super modern bikes with super plush suspension, super plush brakes, like really high spec, then you will probably in comparison find this bike a bit of a potato to ride in comparison. But I happen to be a fan of MASH, so for me, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to spend more time with this bike outside of an initial impressions and seeing what I think long term, because so far it's impressing me. It's a feel good bike. It makes you feel great when you're on it. It just, to me, it has bags of character and is a real head turner because of how classic it is, especially for me riding it with this colour scheme, Sunset Strip. I love a good Germanic colour scheme. And yeah, roll on more miles.